Good day. Today we're going to be going over finding 3 by 3 matrix inverses using determinant. And for that, first of all, we need to know that the formula for finding a 3 by 3 matrix inverse, and this is it here. It just says that it's the adjoint of a matrix A, which we're going to be using today, divided by its determinant. So it's similar to the method used for finding 2 by 2 matrices, but this time we are introducing the adjoint. Remember, for 2 by 2 matrices, to find the inverse of a matrix to A, which was 2 by 2, we just said matrix divided by its determinant. So here it's a bit more complicated. We have an adjoint. So what's important to note before we start is that the adjoint is a matrix, and the determinant is a scalar. That means it's just a constant number, and this is going to be important when we start doing the steps. So right down here, these are the 2 steps we're going to be following to find the our inverse for a specific matrix. So the matrix we're going to be using is called, we're going to call it A, and it's going to be denoted with these members inside of it. The reason we're not using numbers and we're using letters, that's so you can follow all the procedures and steps done, so you can be able to understand why we how specific results are found. And what's going to be important is that you should make a note of this. I encourage you to write it down, because I won't be using this page when we start doing the work. And in this video specifically, we're not going to be doing an example. We're just going to be using this A matrix to come up with a sort of general expression for this inverse of A up here. So it's important to note down this formula, the inverse of A, and or especially the steps. So let's get down to business. The first thing we're going to be doing, according to these steps, we're going to have to find the adjoint matrix, which I hope you are familiar with this annotation for the adjoint. It's ADJ in brackets A. And first of all, we're going to have to make a matrix of cofactors. I'm going to explain in a bit what cofactors are and how to find them. And then we're going to find, after finding that matrix of cofactors, we're going to transpose it. And that probably is a new word to some of you guys. And we're also going to explain how that transposing is. It's not a big deal. And so when we're done with step 1, we're going to move on to step 2, where we find the determinant of this 3 by 3 matrix. Note that it is somehow similar to finding a 2 by 2 matrix determinant, but a bit different. Okay, so without any further ado, let's get down to business. I think we should have everything we need here. Again, please make note of this page. Everything on this page is going to be very vital. We're going to be using it from now on. Okay, and let's start finding the matrix. I'm just going to write it down here. Finding the inverse. I'm sorry for taking a bit of time with all this writing. We're going to be doing a lot of writing, but hopefully this video shouldn't be too long. I don't want to break it into 2 parts. Okay, so the first step, we said we want to find matrix adjoint. And we're just going to call it adjoint of A. Okay, so the first thing we do in this one, we want to find the cofactors. So what the cofactors are, it's just we take this matrix, and then for each member here, we try to find its determinant. And that might be hard to understand, but let's put it like this. Let's say for our member A, if we look at it the way it is, I think we can use it like this. If we draw A again, we write it A in this form, and we have A, D, G, B, C, and I'm going to use another color now, blue. I'm going to have E, F, H, I, and this is going to be red again, just for the closing bracket. I think I should have used another color, but it's fine. Okay, so if we want to find the cofactors of this of A here, then we're gonna have to sort of block out. Sorry, I have to pick a nice color for this. We're gonna have to block out this section, this column and this row, and what we are left with is a matrix here. It's a 2 by 2 matrix. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find the determinant of this matrix. Let me call it determinant of 2 by 2 matrix. And this is what we're going to do for all of them. So it's going to look something like this. I'm just going to use a black pen now. The determinant, remember, is just AD minus BC. So in our case here, it's just EI. Okay, I think I should just say equals here. Is equals to EI minus FH. And that's our determinant. Okay, so if we want to find the determinant, if we want to find the cofactor, let's say this is, we can say this is the minor. It's not really the cofactor yet. This is the minor of our matrix member A. This is the minor of our matrix member A. In a way, it's the determinant there. And if we want to find the cofactor for B, we just have to draw the same matrix. I'm just going to draw it here. Let me see what we're working with here. We're going to have A, B, and we're going to have E, H, and C. I hope you can see why we're doing this. And we're going to take blue. Okay, so we're going to have D, G, F, I. I'm going to use red again. And this is taking some time. Okay, so going back with the green color, we're going to cross out the column, the row and the column linked to our member of choice, the one we're working with. So now we're going to be left with another 2 by 2 matrix. I hope you can see this, but it's this and that. So in reality, if I were to draw it down here, I'm going to get a blue pen again. If we were to draw it down here, we are left with a matrix in the form of DF GI. Okay, and then this matrix DFGI, if we want to find the determinant of DFGI, we can just say determinant of this matrix. It's a 2 by 2 matrix. So the same steps we just used right above here, the same steps, we can use them to find that 2 by 2 matrix. And remember, it's just DI minus FG. And then we have found the cofactor, the minor. I'm sorry, I keep making the same mistake. And this is the cofactor of this one is the cofactor of B. Okay, so this, we do the same thing. I'm just going to try another one to show you how this works. I'm just going to try the last one on just the first row of A. And this time I'm gonna go, I'm just gonna look at C to show you how we're gonna find it. Remember, to find the we said we're gonna find the adjoint of A. To find the adjoint of A, we're gonna have to find all the minors of all the members here. So we're talking 9 members. So you're gonna have to do all these steps here, like we did here. We're gonna have to find these minors of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I, and we're gonna have to do all of that to find the adjoint. It's a bit lengthy, but it shouldn't. We have to do it. I think that's the case. And one thing I should state right now: minors are not the same as cofactors. I just want you to know right now. I hope you've noticed I've been making the mistake of saying cofactors instead of minors. They are not the same. I'll explain in a bit when we are done working with the minors. First, we're finding the minors. So I'm just gonna show you the procedure to well, it's gonna be the same as this one for finding C. So if we want to find the minors of C, we're just gonna draw this matrix again, and then we're gonna have A, B, C, and I'm just gonna say this is gonna be F and I, and the rest is gonna be in blue. The rest of the members, that's gonna be D, E, G, H. Okay, and then we're gonna cross this out, and then again we have a matrix, a 2 by 2 matrix. So if we try to find the determinant of this matrix, I've already stated that it's just DH minus EG. I hope that's still understandable. It's the same again, so I'm going to use a red pen to point it out that this is a cofactor of C, our member C here. So you can see that every time we come across a member, want to find the minor of that member, we cross out its row and its column to be left with a 2 by 2 matrix. We are always left with the 2 by 2 matrix. If I go up here and we focus on A again, let me just say we focus on E. If we want to find the cofactor of E, we just have to cross out. Let me just use green here. We have to cross out its column and cross out its row, and then we're still left with a 2 by 2 matrix, and that's going to be that, and that. I hope that was obvious enough. And likewise for all of them. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to a new page, and we're going to try to find the other cofactors for all of them to have our matrix of cofactors that we specified here. Yeah, so let's try a new page. Okay, so again, I'm just gonna write our A matrix. I'm just gonna say A is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I. Okay, that should make enough sense. Okay, so the next stage, so I think we've found, we can say, I just want to say minor of A is equals to, let me go back a bit up, it's EI minus FH. I'm just going to put it in brackets, EI minus FH. I think it looks a bit neater like that. And then the minor of B, and we can just observe it from here. If we cross out that and cross out that, we're just going to have DI minus GF. Okay, and the minor of C, again, is just going to be DH minus EG. You can just see it at the top of the screen here. Still have it there. Okay, so now we are left to find with the minors of D, E, F, G, H, and I. Okay, so let's just work on that. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna, I guess I can keep on writing them down like this. Minor of D. So we're gonna cross out. We're going to cross out this column, and we're going to cross out that row. So we're going to be left with the matrix BCHI. So it's going to be BI. I hope you can follow this. CH. Okay, don't mean to be offensive if that I see no joke. I hope you don't see any joke in it as well. And minor of E is gonna be E again. I pointed out we just cross out the column and the row. We left with ACGI, so it's gonna be AI minus CG. So when you're doing the matrices, instead of having letters, in actually when you do practical examples, you're going to be having numbers. So this will be more simplified. It won't be all over the place and just filling up the whole page. So that should be much easier. At the end of the video, we're going to be, maybe in the next video, we're going to be doing an example with numbers, which should make more sense, hopefully. Minor of E minor, this is going to be the minor of F, and the minor of F is, again, we cross out those two and we're left with ABGH, so it's going to be AH minus BG. Okay, and the minor of G, and this is starting to fill up the page now, minor of FG. Okay, so that's going to be G. Is gonna be, so we cross out that, and we're just left with a really nice matrix over here. It's gonna be BFCE. So if this is taking long, you can skip forward to much later in the video when I'm done with this. It's just taking so much time. But I want to explain to the students who might be struggling. They want to see every step of this. Okay, and this one is gonna be BF. Minus EC, minus CE or EC, doesn't really matter. Minor of GH, yeah, and H is just down here, so we're gonna be left with, we're gonna cross that out, and we're gonna be left with AF CD, AF minus CD, sorry about that. And then the last minor of I, okay, and that should be I. Again, this crosses out to something, a very simple matrix to see, and it's just A, B, D, E. So it's going to be AE minus BD. AE minus BD. Okay, so now we have our minors. So we want to put all these minors into one huge matrix. So it's going to be huge now because we're using letters instead of numbers. So it's going to be a bit difficult to put them in. So I'm just going to write it here in red, I think. Matrix of minors. Okay. This is going to be very important for us. And I'm just going to use very big brackets so that nothing is squished in. Okay, so wherever we had A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, we want to replace it with all their minors, because that should make life easier. Okay, so we're going to start with A. A was the first element in the matrix, or first member. So we're going to have E to EI, FH. And we're going to have B was here, and then we're going to have DIGF. I hope you can just see it. I'm just copying this into this matrix here. And C is going to be DH. I have to write it with brackets so that it doesn't get confusing, so you can follow what I've been doing. Okay. DH minus EG. And then here is where we had D, and it's just going to be BI minus CH. Okay, and keep in mind that A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H and I are just placeholders for numbers. So not necessarily variables, it's just constants. So when we start doing examples, you're gonna see that we, instead of having A to I, we're just gonna be having your usual constants. In some instances, we might use complex numbers, but I think we're gonna start off with only real numbers to make things easier. Okay, so this is gonna be E. AI minus CG, okay, and F is AH minus BG, and that's gonna be G here. We're gonna have BF minus CE, and H, we're gonna have AF minus CD, and here we're gonna have AE minus BD, and I think we should be done. So here we go, we have a matrix of minors. So the next step, number 2, I'm just gonna go back to black, is we have to change this matrix of minors into a matrix of cofactors. So we're gonna change from minors to cofactors. So now I'm going to explain what cofactors are and how they play an important role in what we're going to design. We're going towards our matrix inverse of A. Okay, so because I should have said A dot, because it's no longer A, this is A dot. Okay, so minors and cofactors. The difference here is that we're gonna have to multiply our minors matrix with specific signs for each symbol here. So it goes something like this for a 3x3 matrix. It's positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. So wherever we have a negative here, it means for our minors, we're gonna have to multiply in a negative there, multiply a negative there, multiply a negative there, multiply a negative there, and then the rest we're gonna stay positive according to this pattern here. So we're gonna have our cofactors matrix. I'm just gonna write it down here in red. Therefore, cofactors matrix and it's gonna look like this. So instead of just rewriting the whole thing, I think what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna copy this whole block and I'm just gonna copy it like that. I'm just gonna move it down. It's gonna take some time. Okay, and we're just gonna put it here, and I think I'm happy with that. And we're gonna use blue to signify the changes. That's gonna be negative now. That's gonna be negative. This is gonna be negative, and that's negative. So it's just a case of multiplying by -1 for specific parts. So the rest stay as they are positive if they give positive results. Okay, it's very important we do this because it's gonna lead us to the next step. So I'm just gonna do it in the next page. Okay, I'm just gonna do it like that. Okay, so part 3, I'm just gonna say it like that. We transpose the matrix. Transpose our cofactor matrix. Okay, so the keyword here is transpose. So for given a matrix, I'm just going to explain what transposing means here. Given a matrix A, the transpose goes of A, which we're gonna symbolize with AT there. The T means we're transposing it. It just means rows and columns switch, or you can say they swap. And that's all it means. So let's look at an example where we have our matrix A, which was, again, we're gonna go back to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Okay, and okay, so therefore the transpose of A is just gonna be where we had our first row, it's gonna become our first column. This thing is gonna go down here, so we're gonna have A, B, C, and our second row becomes our second column. D, E, F, and our last one, okay, G, H, and I. And just like that, we've done a transpose of our matrix A. This is important to note that our main diagonal, this diagonal here, has not changed even after transposing. That's how you know you've transposed right. Well, it's not a difficult step to transpose, but this is an important indicator that you've transposed correctly. AEI. So your main diagonal has not changed. However, your reverse diagonal has been reversed, ironically. Okay, so now that we know how to transpose, we can now transpose our matrix here. And I'm just gonna, I hope, can you please make a note of this? I'm just gonna write down the transpose of this matrix here. We're gonna call it A dot transposed. So we transpose our matrix. Therefore, I'm just gonna write it down here. A dot transposed is gonna be equals to, and I'm just gonna be copying this down. I had it written somewhere, and oh yeah, and by the way, A dot transposed is now our adjoint. This is our final answer for the adjoint matrix, and it's the adjoint of A. So this is gonna be very important. Once you've done the transpose, you've just found the adjoint. So it's a lot of steps. We're already gone over. We're just about to go half an hour into the video. It's a lot of steps, but it's all part of finding the inverse. It's once you get used to this, you won't need to remember all the steps. You can do it in less than 10 minutes for a simple 3x3 matrix. So I'm just going to quickly write down the transpose or the adjoint of this matrix, and it should be EI. Okay, so I'm just going to pause the video and write everything in now. Okay, so we're done with finding the adjoint. So I think I'm going to stop the video here, and I'm going to break it into two parts. In the next part, I'm going to be finding the determinant of our matrix A. So this is our adjoint. You can check with yours. You can try to redo this little exercise and check if you can get to the same adjoint, and try to understand. If you're still confused, you can go back into the video and see how I was able to come to this matrix. And something that's also worth noting is the fact that our pattern here, which we introduced up here, this pattern here for turning a minors into cofactors, is still maintained when we have done the transpose and found the adjoint. So you can see the negatives are still in their right place. So this is very important for the adjoint. So in the next part, we're going to continue to find the determinant, and hopefully we're going to be finding in a shorter time the inverse of our matrix A, and then we can start doing some examples. Okay.